Good morning, guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is Thursday, December the 12th, and my 34-hour break is over. I just did my pre-trip, and I am in the fuel line to get some fuel. I am heading to Union City, Tennessee, and to pick up a preloaded order and then take it to Homel. Trying to see if I'm saying it right. Hamel. Take it to Hamel, Illinois, where I'm meeting another driver to pick up my load that's gonna bring me home. I'm so excited. I am preparing to go home, to be home tomorrow for 3 weeks. I am preparing to see my baby boy. He is getting on the bus tonight to be home tomorrow as well. And my oldest son will be home a couple of days before Christmas. So I'm excited and ready to spend time with my family and to be off this road for a couple of weeks. Yeah. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Today I think I want to talk about what do you need to know before getting your CDL license. I think that's important. Excuse me, because I did a little research on my own. Hold on, I think I'm about to go into this fuel line next to me. Because it just became free. Yeah, so give me a second. Let me get some fuel. Let me go in the store and get some things. And then as we're on the road, we're going to talk about what you need to do before getting your CDL license when you're in the thinking process. Hey guys, so I'm back. I'm on the move. Ain't the sunrise so pretty? I love when the sky is pink like that. But anyway, it's too dark in the trailer, so I'm gonna let y'all see the road a little bit and just talk to y'all. So like I said, I wanted to talk to you all about what you need to do, what you should do if you're thinking about getting your CDL. These are some of the things that I did while thinking about it, even though I've wanted to do it for a while, but these were some of the things that I did that, sealed the deal. So the number one thing that you should do when you're thinking about getting your CDL is figuring out what you want to do with it. Because there's two types of CDL license. There's a CDL-A, excuse me, and a CDL-B. And initially, when I got my CDL, I got my B, which allowed me to drive school buses, city buses, different things like that. So I was driving school buses before I did this to get the feel of driving something bigger. That's what really helped me out. But the point is, you need to figure out what it is you want to do with your CDL and which one do you need. The CDL-A is the one that I have now, that I went back and got so that I can drive an 18-wheeler. The next thing that I suggest that you do when you figure out what you want to do with it is to do your research. To do your research goes back to the number one thing that I said with figuring out which one you want to get, because you don't necessarily need a CDL-A to drive a dump truck or a cement truck or something like that, as well as you need to know whether you want to go over the road or you want to just be local. I'm all over the, don't mind me. I ain't got nothing written down unless I'm talking while I'm driving, so bear with me. So, like I said, it's a lot of opportunity when you get your CDL. It's just a matter of which direction that you want to go with it. Initially, when I made the real decision that I wanted to get my A, I was going to go into tanker. So I went ahead and got my tanker endorsement, and you know, I was talking to other drivers because I was driving Uber and Lyft at the time, and I would pick up truck drivers and either take them home, or I had one that was a tanker driver, and I took him to a shop because he was getting something to fix his truck. And I would ask questions, you know, like what the pay is and how is it, and you know, different things like that. But yeah, do your research. So not only ask other truck drivers if you know them, if you see them in the store, asking them, you know, what they do and what company they work for and how they like it, and you know, the best way to get started. Also do your own research online. When I made the decision that I was going to come to this company here, I was researching schools, because every school is not the same, in my opinion. From my research, every school is not the same, and every school doesn't offer a job right out the gate, and every job that's offered to you after you go to school doesn't pay as much as you're looking for. So you got to know where you are in your point in life, and that will determine where you can start at. And my point in life, when I initially wanted to drive, when I made the decision, my youngest son was a senior in high school. So I knew that I needed to make money to be able to support him and to be able to support my bills. And I needed to be home at a certain time, you know, every so often, because he's home. Or it came down to the fact that I didn't really have nobody that I can depend on, because everybody going through their own thing. So I ain't have anybody that I can depend on that I can leave him with while I'm on the road. So I had to put it on pause. Me personally, I had to put it on pause until he graduated. So that gave me free range in being out on the road to go to school and do different things that I needed to do just for the class itself. You know what I'm saying? So you got to figure out what are your responsibilities, whether you can leave home and go on the road and go to school in another state, or you need to find a school that's close by where you can do like night classes or day classes or something like that. The one thing I will say is that in my research, I found that the company that I decided to go with, not only were they a school, but they offered me a job day one of school. So when I came to the school and I passed my physical and stuff, that was my hire date. Even though I didn't have a CDL license yet, that was my hire date. And the contract says I get my license and then I have to work for them for a certain amount of time. Particularly, it said I had to do 120,000 miles to fulfill my contract. So that's what I'm doing now, 120,000 miles to fulfill my contract. On my last paycheck, it told me that I've done 22,000 miles so far. So I've calculated that I should finish my contract in, at the least, in the next 10 months. And I've been here from day one of school, almost 6 months now. So it all depends on how often you want to get home, how much mileage that your dispatcher give you that goes towards you fulfilling your contract. And also during my schooling, like when I did my on the road, because my schooling consisted of 4 weeks of training, and then you can take the CDL license test multiple times until you pass it or whatever. And as you seen in my first video, well, my first set of videos, that it took me 2 times to pass my test. So instead of 4 weeks, it took me 5 weeks with the class and getting my license. And then after that, I went home for a week and then went back out for another 4 weeks with a trainer over the road. That was my process. And I chose this company because, like I said, I needed to still be able to pay my bills. And I was looking for the company that paid the most money. That was my main thing. They had to pay the most money where I can be comfortable and know that I was able to pay my bills during training. So that's why I chose the company that I'm with. So that's just like one of the things you need to consider. What the company pays. Do you do paid training? Are you doing the training through the unemployment office, where you have to go pay for the school yourself? And if you go that route, where you pay for the school yourself or whatever, and get help through the unemployment office or whatever, you don't necessarily have to fulfill a contract. You have choices on what company that you would like to work with. When you go the route that I went to a company, I came to a company that actually has a school that hired me on day one, which required me to fulfill a contract. So, what do you want to do? Can you go off for weeks at a time for school? Or do you have to stay home and work and go to school in the afternoons after work. What do you want to do when it comes to that? How much money do you want to make? All companies don't pay the same. Do you want to drive over the road, or do you want to drive locally? I do want to drive locally at some point, but I don't want to be local. I want to be more like dedicated local, that kind of thing, regional local, if you understand what I'm saying. But I also want to make sure I'm able to maximize as much as I can the amount of money that I pay, because as a new driver, you don't get paid that much. You don't get paid that much as a new driver, depending on the company that goes to work. It's occasionally, not very often, somebody will find a job out the gate that pays really well for them. And what's really well depends on the kind of money that you're trying to make. But in reality, your first year is your hardest year. You don't get paid that much. So you gotta maximize and do the best that you can with the choices that you're gonna make that's gonna benefit you, and see whether it's worth it for you to go over the road and get that 1 year experience, year and a half experience, 2 years experience, whatever the case may be, so that you can maximize your pay. And that's what I'm doing. That's why I chose coming over the road. I didn't want to come, well actually I did want to come over the road because I wanted to travel. In my mind, I had it. It's a win-win. You can travel and get paid for travel. But the truth of it, since I've been out here, yes, I'm traveling and I'm working, but I'm not really seeing anything. So it's not really, I don't consider this as real travel, because all I'm seeing is the highway. Like you're seeing now, this is mainly what I'm seeing. And when I get to a place to pick up or deliver, most of the time, it's in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing around to see. And the company that I'm with, I don't get what you call personal driving, where I can drive where I want. They manage that personal driving on a need base, and you have to call safety to get access to get the personal driving. So it's not like most companies. But when I was researching, I wasn't looking into personal driving or whatever. I was just mainly looking at what company was going to pay me the most money. Yeah, so these are, I hope I wasn't too confusing when explaining what you need to do before getting your CDL, because it's just a lot to go into it. It's not what a lot of truck drivers make it out to seem. A lot of videos, and this is not to go against the other truck driver videos, because I've learned a lot from them, and they've helped me a lot to make the decision that I made to come out here. But the truth of the matter is, it's all going to depend on what you're looking for within the company. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all going to depend on. What you're looking for, what you can do yourself, where you are willing to go. That's another thing about this company that I chose. I chose this company because they didn't have force dispatch. And they allowed me to tell them up front where I did not want to drive at. So that's another reason why I chose this company that I'm with. I was upfront with them about where I did not want to drive at. And me personally, I don't do no northeast driving. That's Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, all of them states up there in that hook. I don't do none of that driving. That is too stressful for me. And that is an absolute no. Absolute no-go for me. So that's what you got to figure out. Exactly. Don't go into it just for the money. I had somebody ask me, I don't have many followers or whatever, but I had somebody ask me in my comment, basically how much I'm, not directly how much I make, but how much they could make out here. And I can't really give a direct answer on that, because that all depends on you, what you're willing to do, whether you be willing to be over the road, whether you want to be local, whether you want to be paid hourly, whether you want to be paid by the mileage. When you're over the road, 9 times out of 10, you're paid by the mileage. And it's only cents on the mile. That's what you're paid. So you do not get paid if you're not moving. Unless in certain situations where you have a load and you have to sit on it an extra day and you still got miles to drive. You still got time on your clock where you're able to deliver it early, but you can't deliver it early. Some companies will pay layover pay. Some companies will pay detention pay. That's pay after sitting at a shipper or receiver waiting on them to load you or to unload after a certain amount of time. My particular company pays after you're sitting for 2 hours. They pay you by the hour after you're sitting for 2 hours. But other than that, your main pay over the road, 9 times out of 10, is by the mileage. So if you're not moving, if you're not getting any miles, if you're rejecting loads because you don't want to go here and you don't want to go there, because you did not discuss that in the very beginning with the company before you chose it, you're not going to make a lot of money. But if you're one of those people who don't mind being out here on the road, want to stay out here on the road, want to drive wherever, whenever, and wherever they send you, that's where you want to go, and all that kind of stuff, and they got loads to give you and they loading you up, then you can make good money out here. If you got bills at home, debts that you got to pay, kids you got to take care of, all of that plays into whether it's worth it for you. So me saying how much I'm making is maybe not enough for one person, but maybe enough for another person. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, how much I'm making, part of the time it's not enough for me. And that's because I have bills and responsibilities. But it's doable for me because of my main objective in being out here is to get my experience, and it's doable. So that's what you need to figure out. What's doable for you, what the company pays, if that's going to work for you, if you want to be out on the road, if you want to be local, if you want to drive this place, if you don't want to drive this place. All of those decisions you have to make in your head when choosing a company to go with. If you want to go to another state and go to school and work for that company and be contracted to that company, if you want to go to school on your own and pay cash money for it and not be contracted and go anywhere you want to go, if you want to go through you can't afford to pay for it out of your own pocket, so you can go through the unemployment office or the social service office and go through their steps and channels where they'll pay for you to go to school, and you're not in a contract. You get choices on where to apply to get a job. You can go that route. But even with going that route, with paying for yourself and stuff like that, you still need to research a company that you want to go with and talk to them. ask them what their requirements are. Let them know that you're getting ready to go to school to get your license. And if you meet those requirements, then will they offer you a job once you finish school? Because I did that too. I had a tanker company that I called, and he was like, once I finish school, to give him a call, and he'd give me a job. So that's the extra step that you have to take when you do it on your own. You have to contact companies on your own before school is out. Yes, some schools bring different companies in to offer you jobs or whatever, but there's a whole lot of people that's trying to get those jobs. And there's also a whole lot of people who pay for the school and went to school and paid for it on their own that is still looking for a job. So you have to do the extra legwork. Even though you're talking to those recruiters in that school, you need to be talking to recruiters out on your own to try to line something up for when you do finish school. So it's a lot. It sounds like it's a lot to think about, but it's worth it. It'll set you up to where you're not failing. It'll set you up in a place where you're not going into it blind, because you did your research beforehand. You know what your goals are, and you know what you're trying to do. Like I said, the first year is going to be hard. So the more research that you do, the more things that you put in place beforehand, the less hard that you make it, the less stressful that you make it on yourself. So if you have any other questions that I did not answer, or if there was something I said that was confusing, because I am kind of going back and forth. Like I said, I have that written down and I'm talking to you all while I'm driving. So I'm basically talking to you by what comes to my head or from what I've done. And it might sound like it's all mixed up and confusing, and it might not. But if it does sound confusing, or if you do have any other questions, please put it in the comments. And if I don't answer in the comments, I will make another video where it is more clearer to answer those questions that you have in the comments about my experience so far. This is my very first CDL job, over the road trucking job. Like I said, I've driven school buses. So before this, while my son was still in high school, which gave me the experience of knowing what it's like to drive something bigger, like a stepping stone, and which made it easier for me once I got in this truck. Driving this truck is different. It definitely is different. It's a different anxiety that comes along with it, because you got to worry about the trailer going a different direction than you're going. It's not like a school bus where it's all one piece of metal. You got two separate pieces of metal that you got to control. But driving a school bus it helped me when it came to studying for my pre-trip, because I already knew certain things, and it helped me get the feel of driving something bigger than a car, or something bigger than a box truck, like a U-Haul truck or something like that. So like I said, if you have any questions, other questions, or if you need clarity, please put it in the comment bar, and I will do my best to answer them either in the comments or in another video. I have 1 hour and 5 minutes before I get to Union City, Tennessee. As you can see, it is daylight now. It is 6:52 a.m. where I'm at, and I'm just excited because I'm going to pick up this load. I don't have to be live unloaded. It's a preloaded load. So I'm going to pick up this load to take it to Hamel, Illinois, I'm going to meet another driver, and we're going to swap loads. He has my load that's going to Georgia, that's going to get me home, and he's going to take this load wherever it needs to go. And then I get to go home and be home for the holidays, get refreshed, and come back in the new year as ready as I can to, you know, finish out my contract, or who knows, I might decide to stay with the company. I'm just taking it one day at a time, and trying to think and figure out what my next step is after this. I will be back once I get to the shipper and hook up to the trailer. And yeah, if something else comes to my mind, I will tell you that as well.